We're live.
All right, welcome to the season 2 premiere of Breaking BadCast. We'll be talking about 737, and the title is going to be something special because it's talking about how much money Walt actually needs and more.
But we don't know that yet.
Yeah, we don't know that yet, but if you've already seen season 2, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, there's 4 titles um, in order, but not consecutive, that spell
Hmm.
out what the season was really about. And yeah.
Yeah,
And of course, and we get that.
you
I'm
there?
hearing what you said already.
Do you got the YouTube link up? If you do, that means
Oh, I'm
there you
sorry.
go.
Here we go. That makes sense. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, and then the whole first scene is a foreshadowing of that too. We don't know the
Hmm.
number, and that's connected. We don't know what we've seen. I, I
Yeah.
saw Wiki describe it. I think they were describing that episode as everything with the hazmat suits and the whole 9 yards, but it wasn't. It was just that teddy bear in the pool. You
Hmm.
froze, and that was the only thing in color.
Yeah. I like that scene. That was a great scene.
Yeah, they don't use any music or artificial sounds. They have all these, the creaky stuff. You can actually, I think, hear
Hmm.
a plane overhead
Yeah.
at the
I I heard the swing set.
swing set.
The swing. It sounded like a swing set. It wasn't a swing set at all, but it was
There's
the
that
creaking sound like he was talking about.
thing in the backyard that spins and creaks, and it's not a wind
Yeah.
chime. I don't know what exactly it is. The bug on that cement wall.
Hmm.
What kind of bug is that? That's
Uh.
it's like a
Jeez. I have
it's
no
a giant
clue.
snail, right?
I
It's a
think.
snail.
I think it might be. Yeah.
And we'll see another bug crawl on that same spot in another episode way down the line. And
Hmm.
the water dripping out of the hose, the pool filter, and
Hmm.
sirens. I
Hmm.
did that without looking at my notes, but yeah. And we're like, what does this have to do with anything? And then they never tell
Hmm.
us. Not in that episode. But and I don't like the way they repeat most of that Tuco junkyard scene. Valuable time.
Yeah.
But that the rest of it's pretty epic. And you're freezing. I'm not sure if you're here. I don't want to just talk to myself. I wonder if we have watchers. You there?
Yeah. I'm here.
All right. When you lag, am I lagging too? To you?
Yeah. I think you're lagging as well.
This should be really exciting.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
you
So they
start because
repeated.
yeah, you
Okay.
go
So they
because I could
repeated.
definitely jump in.
Okay, so they repeated the Tuco scene of the junkyard where he basically beats Nodos to death, and
Literally
you can,
does.
yeah, yeah, you can see as soon as Tuco comes back how upset he was because he told Walt to do everything that he can possibly can to revive Nodos. He told him to do the CPR and mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
You're smart.
And
You're smart.
Walt was
Yeah.
like, and Walt was like, they don't do mouth-to-mouth anymore.
He's
We
right.
need to take him to an ambulance. We need
And
to
yeah,
we need to call 911.
and he stops Jesse from doing it. Possibly saving Jesse
Mm-hmm.
from Hep C or something. They don't teach it that
Yeah.
way. But Tuco was angry that at Nodo's for dying.
Mm-hmm.
Even screams at him, and then just proceeded to beat his dead body.
Yeah.
And there's Jesse and Walt, like, what's going to happen next? Is he going to turn around and freak out on us? Every second they're really scared. Yet
Mm-hmm.
Walt has just decided he's going to do 11 more deals with this guy. I also love because we saw
Well,
that in the episode before the last episode of the last season, and this one, that Walt and Jesse, they do the same things at the same time. They're like twins. The
mm-hmm.
glasses, walking to the car, the same expression, the same reaction. They're equals for a little while there.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of Walt contributes something and Jesse contributes something, and Walt is the book smarts and Jesse is the street smarts, and Hank will talk about that later. And Jesse is the street smarts as an understanding, but he doesn't have the skills. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's fumbling with that gun. He doesn't have the skills, but he understands the concepts. And
Mm-hmm.
and he's teaching Walt, and Walt is teaching him.
Yeah. Yeah. So we continue with Walt coming home, and you guys talked about this for your character development series of Walt. I guess you can call it rape. I'm not for sure.
I watched it again
It's not.
today, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was.
I don't think. I don't think that's right because he
There's
stopped when she
certain
said stop, though.
Right, but there's certain body movements that are telltale, and it took me to today, and I've probably seen this episode 25 times to really get it. Either way, um,
Hmm.
it still is. But yeah, I think it's tried and true, and she is the one who almost brushes that off as an issue. Now, she doesn't
Hmm.
let it go. She reads him the riot act a little bit, but with
Yeah.
understanding. Like, I
Hmm.
know that you're going through a lot, but you can't take it out on me.
Hmm.
And she wasn't even going to turn him down. She just wanted to get the green goop off her face. But if you notice, right before that scene, Walt takes off Heisenberg. He puts it down. He takes off the hat. He wants to get rid of
Hmm.
Heisenberg and everything that Heisenberg just saw. And as soon
Yeah.
as he does, he breaks down.
Hmm.
And maybe his whole thing was his way of hiding to her that he was breaking down. We freeze again.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you said. Walt Jr. Didn't know what to think when he came home.
No, he knew something was
He
up,
didn't know
though.
what he knew something was up, but he didn't know what exactly it was. But that scene, now, not a lot of things disturb me about Breaking Bad, but that rape scene was a little bit hard to watch. Was it for you?
Yeah. I mean, this is her husband, and she trusts him, and, you know, having the green goop on her face, you know, really helped as far as people wanted to argue, well, she wasn't really direct about that no in the beginning, when she was speaking to him till
Hmm.
she finally screamed stop it. But, you know, I have all this stuff on my face. He just he had to act out in some way. He had to vent and unleash, purge what had
Hmm.
just gone on and how scared he was. And it was so interesting that when he took off the Heisenberg hat, he just shifted gears from
Hmm.
watching TV to just trying to bury himself in his wife and not
Yeah.
hearing her. But that'll never come up again. She doesn't hold that against him. I don't think she ever says anything about it. And there's an article out there called "The Forgotten Rape of Skylar White."
Hmm.
You know, but
I'm surprised they didn't mention it later,
I
like during the final episodes of season 5. I'm surprised Skylar didn't bring that up again.
well, I like don't want to excuse or make rape or anything here, but in this case, um, Walt finally did stop when she really screamed it. He didn't,
Hmm.
just say, whatever, I'm doing what I'm doing, and it was isolated.
Hmm.
That was not Walt. It was more like, this is the person that you could become if you keep getting yourself in the situation.
Yeah.
These are the drastic changes it can make in you. It was not Walt. You know, I would barely, if you were going to list Walt's crimes, um, rape is not something he's done frequently. I
Hmm.
actually don't even think he knew what he was doing it until she screamed stop. I don't think he
Well,
was
you
even
can tell by
aware.
the reaction on his face
Yeah,
after it. He was like shocked.
yeah. And he wasn't hearing her. He was in his own head.
Hmm.
And he didn't
Yeah.
hear her until she finally screamed. And then he sits at the pool. He likes to sit at the pool when, you know,
Hmm.
things are heavy, weighing heavy on him. And that pool was in the beginning with the teddy bear and the eyeball. And it was, something for him to look on to give him peace. But we're getting foreshadowing that one day it's going to be a horror scene. So, and that's where she goes out to him. And I love that she's talking to him with the green stuff on her face still. Oh,
I'm still
boy.
here. My dogs is just barking.
Oh,
Yeah, my dogs started barking.
your dogs are barking? Does that mean
I
your
had to mute
feet hurt or
myself.
your dogs are
Yeah,
barking?
they were barking.
Does that mean your feet hurt?
I don't know. They just started barking. The wind caused the door to swing open and back and forth, and they was just barking at that. Um, so the next scene, you see Walt and Jesse concerned of what's going to happen to them
Right after Jesse goes to the
since
doghouse,
right
though.
after, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, right after he gets the gun.
you think he's doing a drug deal at the beginning of that.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
he buys the gun. And then the first gun conversation, yeah. And this
yeah.
is
I
where,
thought that was a funny conversation. That was pretty funny. It was like,
well,
how
part
many
two
bullets?
of that later on is even funnier.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jesse's like, he says we're done. You know, you want to know what
Hmm.
that means? I'll tell you what that means. It means exactly how it sounds, yo. And
Yeah.
so there's the street smarts versus the book smarts going between the two of them. But Walt says posse, and I just thought that was an out of character word for him. Like maybe he didn't realize it was a hip word,
Hmm.
but it sounded weird coming from him. And they're both on a learning curve here. And they is that where they're trying to Jesse can't even work the gun.
Yeah,
Can't
he
open
can't
it.
even open the gun. No.
Yeah. And Walt says it's not that easy. And Jesse's like, you did it. You've murdered somebody.
Hmm.
And a little zing. And then
Yeah, so,
I love the next scene though. The next scene's Marie. I got purple for that. You know.
yeah, so, Marie, she's trying to contact Skylar.
Yeah. And she's so
But, it's,
endearing and annoying all at the same time.
hmm.
She she's so funny. The elevator music. She actually listens to elevator music. And she's got to have these great things like voice activated phone, and she's like OCD with her Splenda, and um
At first, I thought that Splenda was that Sevia stuff
oh,
that Lydia
Stevia.
puts in her coffee. Sevia,
No,
yeah.
Splenda, the yellow packets. And she's totally in denial. And she's
Hmm.
pretending that Skylar isn't mad at her, and that she
Hmm.
obviously isn't home. And she's always another thing about Marie, a little personality thing. She always wants Chinese food, and she's just funny. And um, she's keeping herself in a good mood with all her stuff until Hank confronts her about her appointment.
Hmm.
And then she's trying to be sweet, but she is messing it up on purpose. She's blowing it off. And she runs
Yeah.
over that kid's toy car,
Yeah.
driving away listening to her elevator music.
I like how it was the same music in the car as she was listening to at home.
Oh
Did you
yeah.
pick up on that?
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was I actually have heard better stuff on elevators. The stuff she listens to is insane. And I love how Hank's like apologizes to the kid, and he's like, she's a, and he trails off. It's like fill in the blank.
Hmm.
Um, like she's a bitch. Um, and then he goes off, and he's taking his stuff out on people at work. The next thing he does is go like hit one of the
Hmm.
prisoners on his way by.
Yeah, he hit some. Yeah. Yeah, so they pick back up on the case that Hank is working on. Because the last few episodes, they haven't really dig deep into it until this one. And you see that Hank is actually watching the security cam footage of Walt and Jesse stealing the barrel of methylamine.
Mm-hmm. And in a minute, they go from James Bond to like world's dumbest criminal.
Yeah,
Uh, cat.
it's a barrel. Roll it.
Yes. And Hank says they got book smarts. Ooh. Sorry about that. I don't know how that happened. They got book smarts, but no street smarts. And he's actually
Hmm.
wrong, because Jesse does have the street smarts, but again, just not the experience and the capability. And
Yeah.
that his own brother-in-law is the chemistry genius. And Hank says
Hmm.
they're gonna step on somebody's toes with this kind of heist, and that's like the smartest thing out of the three of them put together.
Hmm.
Uh, that is actually the smartest thing. That's not something that even Jesse's bringing up. I mean, they've got a deal with Tuco, but Tuco's already gotten upset before. Nobody moves Crystal in the South Valley but me. So, but he's working with him, but it's not a safe deal.
Yeah.
Oh, so there was oh yeah, this the whole second part of the conversation. I guess there were two of them, and I'm looking at my notes. But isn't this the rice and beans thing?
Yeah, the second part was when Walt has a second plan and he wants to make the beans into ricin. This
All
is when
right,
the
that's right.
ricin comes
Yeah.
into play.
He comes home,
Yeah,
stays up all night because he sees Tuco. He picks up. Remember, he gets
yeah.
home in the driveway. At the end of the driveway,
hmm
there's some plastic thing and a red
It's his
stain.
newspaper. He picks up his newspaper,
Oh, it looks like
and then
plastic.
he notices the car.
Yeah, and it
He
goes.
notices the
Leaves.
car, and then it leaves. Yeah.
Yeah. And when Skylar wakes up in the morning, he's not in bed.
hmm
Maura Marie, she calls. Skylar picks up, hangs up. And, Walt lies about why he's been up all night. He's been up all night watching the house.
Yeah. He said it was because of a little bug that he's trying to get.
And, actually, I'd like to see if I could get a real count on Walt's lies. It might require a database. But, yeah, I don't know what number that is. But,
You
yeah,
probably would have
then,
to rewatch again and then count. Because it started with episode 1, and then it just went from there.
yeah. And then, this is the second part in the kitchen with the gun. Oh, and originally, remember, Jesse is the one who's trying to convince Walt they have to kill Tuco. Walt isn't considering that an option at first. I hated to notice that. Do you
hmm
remember? He's like, it's either him or
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
So by now, Walt has agreed, and it's a matter of how. And that's when we get
hmm
the whole ricin conversation.
Yep.
And that's hilarious. What are we going to do? Grow a magic beanstalk and escape?
Beanstalk. Yeah.
Or rice and beans? We're going to kill him with rice and
hmm
beans?
Yeah.
And another epic line. I mean, there's so many in that little scene. Jesse's like, we get another
hmm
gun. Doesn't that double our
Yeah.
chances, like, mathematically? Like, in what other sense would you be talking about doubling chances? But
hmm
And then, of course, when Walt talks about making the ricin,
hmm
he becomes the superior, the intellectual, the teacher. He even gives him a little bit of
Yeah.
history about how it's been used, and yeah, this is a really teacher-student kind of thing, because that is what they are, teacher-student. But they
hmm
take turns in this episode a little bit, or throughout the series, probably.
hmm
Oh, and then we
hmm
get a brief glimpse of Skylar and Ted in the past.
Yeah, I saw that. They showed Skylar going through some pictures, and her and Ted was in one of them, which makes me think maybe her and Ted had a relationship in the past.
It seemed that way. I always thought that maybe he had just made a pass at her, but they looked like. So he's
'Cause
he's basically
the,
her Gretchen.
yeah,
Walt has Gretchen and Skylar has Ted.
because the photo that they show it looked like they was in a bar and they had drinks on the table.
Yeah. And I believe they were working together because the father was still alive.
hmm
And he was running the company, and she was working there. She was in the accounting department already.
Yeah.
And then, and that goes into Hank showing up, and that scene is so great.
Yeah. So Hank shows up begging Skylar to talk to Marie, saying, just answer our calls. You can yell at her if you want to. And then Skylar just went off on Hank, which is great. She said, why should my spoiled brat bitch of a sister get all the attention? And I'm the one that's pregnant and has the husband with lung cancer.
Yeah. God knows she's got the real problems, and, Hank doesn't deliver things very well sometimes. He's like, You know, I know you gals have your ups and downs.
Yeah.
Not a great way to start with Skylar, and I love how she wouldn't sit down if the conversation were going to be about Marie. Do you want to sit down?
And I like how Hank sits down, and as soon as Skylar says, "Is it about Marie?" he just stands right up.
Yep. And finally, he's like, "You want me to look at the utility closet?" But this is, yeah. Dave, yeah, Dave's good. Dave's good. That's great. Dave's good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and she just wants Marie to
And
acknowledge it and what she did and apologize. Marie
yeah.
can't face that. She can't face that in herself, which is why that poor kid's car had to suffer. But and then there goes into
Skylar finds out that Hank knew about Marie's problem, and that's why she got pissed at him.
Oh, was that when she finds out?
Yeah, because she said, "You knew about
Oh
this?"
yeah, of course, yeah. Right.
Because Hank mentioned something about if I knew that he was going to take it back, I would
Right.
have contacted them or something and try not to get you in trouble.
Right, it was. Which makes it even worse.
Yeah.
You know, because Skylar figures she tells Hank's gonna, you know, do the right thing and take Skylar's side on this, but no. We gotta support the shit out of Marie. Revealing really a lot about the characters, and really, really does feel like a family. It doesn't take long for them to all have their place and their way of interacting. It's never awkward, or I don't see a transition. I don't see them like trying one way and moving on to something that works better. They always are who they are with each other. And, you know, we see them in different circumstances, different emotions, but they are so believable as in-laws, brother and sister-in-law. But it goes into the cooking the ricin scene, which is really cool, probably because of the music and the cinematography. Hi, doggies. The wind's blowing the door. The doggies just made it freeze. Oh, I can't hear you.
Yeah,
You're
just
moving.
go ahead and continue.
Okay. I couldn't hear you, but I could see you move.
Go ahead and continue.
The ricin scene. Cooking the ricin. Pretty awesome scene. The cinematography was pretty crazy. The shots moved really fast. The angles were really cool. The music was great. And then it goes on to them discussing how to do it. And in the middle of that, Hank calls.
Yeah, on that scene, I like how Jesse did a Walt, because Walt earlier said, "How are you going to do it?" And Jesse was like, "How are you going to do it, Walt?" Is there a way for to get a hold of him and put the rice in there? How are you going to do it? You know what I mean? You probably can't even hear me.
No, I hear you. I'm thinking,
Oh, okay.
I'm wondering if that's when Walt basically leaves the salesmanship up to, yeah, he does. He leaves the salesmanship up to Jesse. You know, you get him to try a sample, you know, and that's your realm. You decide what to tell him, why he should try this. You know, that degenerate snorts everything he gets his hands on anyway. And as they're figuring this out, Hank calls, and he's on the scene with Nodos and Gonzo. And he is having a blast with it. I mean, this is when Hank has fun at work. It's pretty sick, if you think about it. You know?
Yeah.
Laughing. As he's figuring things out, he's showing his smarts. Oh, this is what happened. You know, this one's fresher than that one, that kind of thing. And then, oh, Walt, you got to see this picture. And it'll be kind of important for Walt and Jesse to know that Gonzo's dead because Tuco doesn't know it,
Yeah.
as we'll discover
They
later.
thought that Tuco killed Gonzo, though. That's what Walt and Jesse thought. They thought that Tuco went after Gonzo.
Hank wouldn't have filled him in, but yeah, you think, yeah. No, they did. Yeah, well, maybe they did until later, pretty soon, when they
Until the
realized,
second episode.
yeah, they realized that Tuco thinks Gonzo's alive and a rat.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tuco doesn't know it, and Hank thinks it's so funny. Like he has a website for this stuff, and that freaks Walt and Jesse out big time. So yeah, I think you're right. They must think Tuco did it, because then they're like
Yeah.
scared to death. Like they haven't been scared enough already, and they
Yeah,
have
because Walt took Jesse's gun and then just hauled ass out the door.
and that was tense. Goes home, not too sure everybody's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then Skylar's in the tub, and this scene will haunt Walt for a long time.
Yeah.
And
Because that's when his second cell phone comes about.
right before he disappears, and he's about to say something. I don't know where to begin, he says. He's about to spill it, and it's up to our imaginations. What would he spill? Would he make up a lie? Was he about to tell the truth?
Mm-hmm.
Never know.
Well, I think he probably would have told the truth because his family was in danger. He thought his family was going to be in danger because of Tuco. So I think he might have wanted to tell the truth. He might have said, "I'm dealing meth. You guys are in danger. What? I don't know what else to do."
It might have led to a call to Hank.
Probably.
You know. And Hank probably could have gotten him out of it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Since it's so early on.
Right. He might have just confessed the whole thing. But by the time, although I don't understand because later it won't make sense why he doesn't do it after he's abducted. Jesse, he gets abducted by proxy, like by Jesse, and, Tuco in the back seat. And yeah, my last 4 words was where this is not good. This is just not good. Driving away, Tuco's in the back seat with the gun. That was a pretty, that was an exciting episode of Breaking Bad. It's hard to see it that way sometimes, already knowing what's going to happen, because I watched it before, but this is one of those, I don't know if you felt like this, but it seemed to me that every episode felt like 5 minutes. But they went by fast. He just froze again. It's probably perfect timing.
I'm here.
Did you catch that?
Yeah, you said it went by like 5 minutes, really fast.
I mean, I'd be watching and thinking how much time we have left and look, and there was like no time left. How'd that happen? It just went by so fast.
Yeah.
And that was an exciting one. That's like, I can't wait till next week.
Yeah, I've already seen next week. I went out ahead and watch. It's going to be great.
Well, I mean, no, as far as what, like, say, in real life, in real time, we're watching these for the first time. It'd be like, Oh my
Yeah.
God, I can't wait for next week. I have to see what's going on here. You know, their
Mhm.
structure was so fantastic that they
Mhm.
leave you wanting the next episode, and then when you get to the next episode, they got a little diversion for you before they get to what it is that you were waiting, from last
Mhm.
week. And
Yeah.
the structure is fantastic. This is also the only season where they ever knew how it was going to end. The first
Mhm.
season that they had it planned from beginning to end. So,
Mhm.
hence the title 737 down over ABQ.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, you see, Tuco was supposed to last longer, but Ray's contract with the closer interfered with that, so they had to cut his part short, and that's when Gus came in. So they said that season two was supposed to be all about Tuco, but since his deal with the closer was interfering with that, they couldn't make a deal.
hmm.
So that's when they had to cut him short.
I also read that he thought the character took too much out of him and he wanted to be killed off. But
Hmm.
maybe that was fun embellishment, but it really was an intense character. He
Yeah.
was crazy. That was physically intense. And he
Hmm.
complained about having hurt himself, like carrying Nodos, carrying that actor.
Yeah.
But I love that Tuco was in it, but I'm glad that he got what he needed because Gus was epic. So the
Hmm.
more Gus, the better. I don't like Gus, but I love watching Gus.
Yeah. You
And
have no clue what he's going to do next.
I don't remember when that's going to come up, but it's like every time Walt says, "All right, this time we're not going to pick a complete psycho or or somebody dangerous."
Hmm.
Well, who else do you think you're going to get? You know, Mr. Rogers' meth neighborhood. You know, a church connection. So,
You
but
know, I would have liked to saw Walt Jr. working for Gus at the restaurant. I think that would have been great.
that would have been cool. That would have added a lot of tension. You know, because basically he's employing father and son, and Walt would be nervous about Gus's influence on his son. You froze again, and Marty didn't make it. Well, Shane, you're completely frozen.
Hit the fan next
Oh,
week.
what's that?
Shit's going to hit the fan next week.
Yeah.
Next episode.
Hopefully he doesn't do it with Google Hangouts.
Yeah, that was pretty much it for this episode. Next episode is going to be even better.
They all get better and better and
Hopefully,
better.
yeah, yeah. It's going to be. I think it's going to be great next week. Hopefully, Marty would join in and give her insight. Um, Breaking Bad Cast has finally got a Facebook page, so like it for
I did.
updates and links and all other Breaking Bad stuff. Hopefully, I can make it Monday for the character development
I'll try
webcast.
to post the links. I'll send you a PM.
Because the last 2 weeks, I could not find the links at all.
I post them on my page, like, as if it's got a zillion people following it, and figure
Hmm.
anybody who's interested will click there. But I'll make sure I send you a PM.
All right, I'll see if I
And
can't make it.
we're doing
Who,
Jess. We're starting with Jesse.
all right.
Jesse's, some of those characters, morality-wise, some characters are not going to be easy to discuss because there's not much to say, like Saul.
Hmm. You're probably
Morality.
going to have to wait until Better Call Saul comes on before you can do Saul.
Right. But as far as Breaking Bad's concerned, solid morality, basically none.
Yeah.
Yeah, close to it. But Walt is obviously rich in that respect, and so's Jesse.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that should be fun. And I'm gonna get to Marie, and I'm gonna wear purple again. So, all right. So hopefully 8 o'clock Monday night,
All right.
barring snowstorms and malfunctions.
Yeah. Hopefully. So next Saturday is going to be episode 2. I think it's called Grilled, if I'm not mistaken.
You're not mistaken.
It's called Grilled. Yep, it's called Grilled. Made
It
sure.
sure. Yep.
Yep. So Grilled is going to be next week, and then the week after that is going to be episode 3. So hopefully you guys can tune in, and hopefully more people will join, because next week is going to be epic.
All right.
Good night,
Well,
everybody.
I will be here. Thanks, Shane.
All right. You're welcome.
See you online.
See ya.